Alright, welcome back to the Tiny Camper Gang channel, everybody. On this episode, we are going to be talking about how we tow with Wrath. So, Wrath over here is rated to tow at 7,200 pounds. Payload capacity is where we hurt, right? So it only has around 1,050 pounds of payload capacity. So that means you got to factor in the hitch, how much we weigh, and how much the hitch weight of the actual trailer is, and plus any cargo that you decide to put in there. It's all going to go against your payload capacity. So, going over here, this is what we are towing. This is a 2020 Jayco J-Feather 24 RL. And rough weight is dry is 5,500 pounds, and GVWR, which is the maximum the axles can handle, is 6,500 pounds. So on paper it sounds great that we're under on our towing capacity. Now here's where it comes into play. I put two 30-pound propane tanks in the front there, plus the battery right here in the back, plus I put the power tongue jack, plus I put the generator and the generator carrier, and then you also got to add in your brackets. That'll suck out around 600 pounds of tongue weight that's going to be taken away from the setup. So now I have to subtract 600 at the very minimum, maybe 650, and calculate how many personnel and cargo I could put inside the Jeep. So what we end up doing is how we do it. I usually load every single thing into the trailer, and then only personnel go into the Jeep, the tow vehicle. That keeps us under, and we can also have around 60 to 70 pounds of leeway, where if we do need to put a cooler or we do need to put her bicycle, that gives us that extra weight capacity that we can do that. But other than that, since we're good on towing capacity, everything goes in the camper anyways. We're not going to load it up. All right, next portion we're going to talk about that makes this work is a weight distribution hitch. This is not a luxury item, this is a mandatory item, and the reason why is because the main thing it's going to do is going to redistribute weight from this rear axle, from all that tongue weight, to the front axle and a little bit to the rear. This balances everything out, tries to keep it as level as possible, and it also reduces sway. So not a luxury item, definitely a mandatory item. So what we're running right here is the E2 round bar 10K. By any means, this is not the best on the market. It has worked for us, but later on in the future I plan on getting an E2 because I feel like the 4-point sway control is just better. But this has been working good for us for around, I'd say, 40,000 miles. Next thing you do is just hook up. Now, once you've risen this up and you get some tension on there to equalize it, it's always good to have one of these so you don't hurt yourself. These do come with the kits that you buy with this whole setup. So you'll hook it under here, raise it up to that little lip, and you'll just lift straight up. Then you give it a good tap, make sure it's in there, and then you grab your L bracket and you put the L bracket in. Alright, once the L bracket's in there, do not forget the cotter pin. And then we do the other side. Awesome. Then you just go ahead and you do your other side. Right now, once you're all hooked up to the vehicle, you're gonna want to go ahead and start dropping. All right, next thing you're gonna do is don't forget to put some sort of security device, whether it be a lock or a pin or pretty much anything. Just make sure you have something that goes in there so it doesn't fly off on you in an emergency situation. Hook up the safety chain. Always go through the bottom of the bar. And then, last but definitely not least, your cable. Don't forget this. And that goes into your 7-pin connector. Make sure you always give it a good push in there. And that's it, we're done with the front. Oh wait, nope, never mind. See, you always gotta double check your stuff because the breakaway cable wasn't as secured. All right, now the breakaway cable's there. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take off our chocks. Alright, so these are the chocks that we use. They're called X chocks. A lot of people say not to use them to stop the vehicle from rolling, but we always have, and we never had a single problem. So we'll continue to do it until we have a problem. The last thing I like to do once I disconnected my shore power is do one final walkthrough and double check absolutely everything. No matter how long I do this for, there's been times where I've done my walkthrough and I found something. So walkthrough is just as easy as it sounds. You just walk through and make sure you scan up and down and make sure that you have nothing that's gonna hurt you on the road. I do this every single time. I double check all my cotter pins, I double check my securement, I double check, make sure everything's hooked up right, and I'm just walking around to speed. Now that I feel confident, the doors are locked, everything's good to go. We'll go ahead and move inside the Jeep and get ready to tow. So now that we're on the road and we're towing, I wanted to show you what the inside of the cockpit looks like, usually when we're on our travel days. So right here we have the Furion camera that I use to see behind me. And that just gives me a little bit of an idea of what's directly behind me. I can see fine out of these mirrors on the side here. It takes a little bit of getting used to. I used to have the extension mirrors, but I went ahead and got rid of them. And I mean, the Jeep tows it smoothly. I mean, it doesn't feel like anything's taking over the Jeep or the steering wheel. I mean, it feels good because everything's leveled out, everything's balanced. Usually what I like to do is I do around 65 miles an hour, depending on the conditions. Everything's going to be depending on the conditions. If it's like a great road, open road, smooth, and the speed limit is 70 and there's nobody around me, I will do 70 sometimes. Then the other side of that coin is if it's like super snowy and dangerous and everything, I can go as low as 35 sometimes we've done before. But if you want to take a look at the back over here, this is Catalina's setup. We have her hooked up to the Jeep's Wi-Fi. She's over there streaming her stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The brake controller's right here by my foot. I don't even need to touch it. I don't ever bump it or anything. And yeah, that's pretty much the inside of the cockpit, if I can think of anything. One thing I do like to do is if I'm towing in rough conditions like snow or ice or anything, I'll bump that up a couple notches just so that the trailer is tugging on the Jeep a little bit more. But look, right now we're passing a semi-truck, and I don't feel any sort of waviness or anything. The temperature is what I'm normally looking at when I'm driving, making sure that thing is smooth. Got my GPS right here, letting me know where to go. And we just sit back, we relax, and we drive. Usually I like to ride in the right lane, but today I'm riding in the middle lane because the right lane has been torn up pretty bad. Sometimes I go in the left lane to pass some people who are going really slow. Just all dependent on the driver and the conditions. Tires is a big thing too. If you have good LT tires, if you're towing with an SUV, it'll help you ride. And if you have good off-road or like some all-terrains, right now we have BFG KO2s. Be amazed at how well they do in the snow. The Jeep is 4-wheel drive and it's automatically sets into what I need to do and smooth sailing.